Hi everyone, this is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and it seems like people tend to forget what works for one person might not necessarily work for another. People may try to keep selling you a list of necessary things in the car just in case of an emergency, but you find out pretty quick that if you pack everything they recommended, you're probably going to run out of space, especially if you're using the car for rideshare. I'm talking Civics, Priuses, small cars that don't have a whole ton of space to begin with. On top of packing the kitchen sink, the majority of these lists include items that are personal considerations of the creator. A desert isn't the forest in the Pacific Northwest. A coastal beach town isn't like rural America. People who live where it snows will pack different items than the person who lives in Dubai. Just like there's no one correct way to live out your life, there's no single correct way to pack what you need in case of an emergency. I used to travel around the world to some interesting places, and proper preparation and planning has always meant flexibility depending on where I was. Of course, most rideshare drivers operate in urban environments. We can tighten up the group further by saying almost all full-time drivers operate in urban environments. Trust me, a few mundane and often overlooked items are more useful to you than an emergency ration and a fire starter kit with a backup lighter. The main reason items like these get overlooked until it's too late is routine. Tell me, when's the last time you checked your spare tire for serviceability? Do you even have a tire pressure gauge? Let's go over what I like calling the skeleton of any useful kit. You can always add to it to suit the needs of your environment. It focuses on two of the most common issues you could potentially face while on the road all day. Number 1, medical issues, and number 2, vehicle issues. So it's going to get really real, really honest. And I know there are tons of videos out there that talk about the 25 most important things you should have in your car at all times. This isn't going to be one of those. In fact, I'll tell you right now, if you are in an urban environment, keeping this charged to the max is the most useful thing that you can do in the event of an emergency. In fact, in some cases, if you're not medically trained, you tend to add to the crowd. Does that mean that you should stay untrained? Of course not. I like it whenever anyone increases their overall usefulness in society. Since full-time rideshare drivers are on the road so much, it would actually make sense to be trained in these sorts of things. Now, since most full-time rideshare drivers are in major cities, you do not need a full-blown medical kit. What I mean is, I don't expect you to carry around full-blown IV bags or trauma kits or anything like that. But there are a few basics here that I do recommend. It's going to be good to have at the very least a little boo-boo band-aid kit, alcohol pads, Neosporin, and of course band-aids. Throw in something for headaches in a plastic eyeglass kit and you're pretty much set for 99% of the things that happen daily. But let's not forget some actual emergency items. Depending on your level of training, you can go as hard as you want. I try to have something just in case I run into someone who suffered some severe trauma on the road. I'm not going to stabilize anyone Grey's Anatomy style, but I'm going to provide them something they need if they're leaking the good red stuff: time. Now we can look at some pretty recent horrific events that shows that it is actually important to learn how to stabilize somebody if they're bleeding from a limb. That's why I throw a tourniquet into my kit. I've done this since forever. I have the soft T style tourniquet, but the other military issued CAT style is a good and proven tourniquet as well. Probably one of the only upsides to this country being at war as long as it has is that the medical knowledge that we know today has grown leaps and bounds since 2001. Tourniquets are light, they're relatively cheap, and we now know that using one doesn't necessarily mean that that limb is going to die off. You really don't know what you're going to run into in the city, so it would be very wise to learn how to use one of these. Because if there's any kind of equipment that I suggest everyone know how to use, it would definitely be this. Now, a personal addition to this generalized kit, I do have a Halo chest seal included. These are used to treat sucking chest wounds. Since I'm in a major city where anything can and has gone down, who knows? For what it's worth, I live in that section that you can find in every major city, so I hear someone having a belated New Year's Day celebration at least once or twice a week. Seriously, you never know. I also have some vacuum sealed gauze that can pack a wound and a splint. So if you see me digging into this bag, you know that it's gone pretty bad. I know I won't be able to treat everything, but as a generalization, I live in a city where the response time, even in questionable areas, is still under 10 minutes. The most important thing is that if you run into someone that's bleeding, you get that to stop immediately. I feel like I don't even have to explain the gauze if you're running into these kinds of videos. You pack the wound and you apply pressure and try and get it to stop bleeding. Now, I've used the headache powder more than anything else in my med kit, and I intend to keep it that way. This stuff rocks, by the way. It works fast and it lasts. Just be careful with it around others in public. To the uninitiated, it looks like some other kind of powdery substance. Goodies works so fast. I can't believe I went 20 years without knowing what it was. Obviously I'm not 20, but that's when I found out that this stuff existed. It works so great. I like these band-aids because they're like little dressings held on by duct tape. They don't go anywhere and water does nothing to them. And I'd like to stress, if you can get training anywhere, whether it's CPR, TC3, EMT, get it. So I've rambled on about medical issues, but what about vehicle issues? I can't say this enough, but nothing sucks harder than knowing you have a vehicle issue and you're stuck in the sketchy part of town at 3 a.m. in the morning. Good luck getting a tow, but you can Uber out of there and just secure your vehicle, right? So what does this mean? Keep your phone charged. Make sure you're not depleting the battery and that you have backup ways of maintaining a charge on your phone if you're in an inconvenient place that has no outlets or if nothing's open at all. You can't rely on using your car to charge all the time because what if something is wrong with the electrical system? It's very possible to have a totally bad day where that's the situation. Do you call an Uber or do you take your chances calling a towing company? However, most issues you're going to run into are going to be tire related. You'll get something pointy stuck in one if you drive long enough. It's really just a matter of when. Carrying a multi-tool can help with removing the item from your tire, and a good portable flat fixer can change just how long you're going to suffer some downtime. Any multi-tool with needle nose pliers is a great addition to your kit. Now, if you had the foresight to get a full-size spare and you've made sure that it stays in excellent condition, excellent, you're already ahead of the curve. Switch it out, drive on, right? You want to have a couple of lights in case you have to do this at night. See, this is the problem that I have with these pre-made kits. Some places won't allow you to use any road flares, and what is one going to do anyway? You need more than one to block off a lane to get people's attention. Here's one that should make sense to any driver that's out there for more than 12 hours at a time. Keep a fire extinguisher on board. I use a maritime one due to the fact that I'm around a lot of salty air. If something happens to your car and it starts to catch on fire, it's best to put it out and save what you can of it rather than have the whole thing go up in flames. That's just a terrible situation that you don't want to go through. One of my buddies went through it, and there were lots of things that he had in the vehicle that he didn't realize were irreplaceable. Now, the last piece of important standard vehicle kit would be the jumper cable. I have some thick 4-gauge ones, copper on both ends. We're gonna get it juiced. I like drilling this in people's heads. Keep these charged or have a way to charge it. Because if your vehicle needs more than a jump or a tire fixed, it's probably going to need a tow. Depending on your city and where you're stuck at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., that might be a very questionable decision to just go ahead and wait there. You want to be able to hang on to this, secure your vehicle, and get an Uber out. So to summarize this, well, it's nice to see people planning for emergencies on the road and building lists of important items that they need to keep and making it an arbitrary number like 25 items, 35 items, the top 50 items that you need to keep in your truck, car, vehicle, whatever. Save your money and don't buy the overpriced kits that come with things you don't need. For example, if you drive in Los Angeles, you don't need the snow shovel kit with the packets of sealed water, the apocalypse meat, and the compass with a single road flare. If you pull out a compass on the side of the 405 with your hazards flashing in the middle of Los Angeles, you're gonna look like a different kind of lost. But take another look at this list. Finding that your car might need a jump start after you were killing some time inside Walmart is something that happens to people daily. If you are an urban Uber driver, you need to pare these things down, keep it light, and keep it realistic. Pack some of these extra battery packs, extra charging cables for your phone. The benefit is, depending on your area, you can take these basic items and then add to it. Because you're the one that's spending all this time inside your vehicle, you know what's normal for your area. Well, I hope that this helped you guys think of something that you can throw inside your trunk just in case. I just wanted to provide something different, a little extra today. Just remember to plan for your normal, whatever you can encounter out there. And if you can't do anything else for whatever reason, keep that phone charged and have a backup way to keep it charged. Don't just rely on your car to keep it charged. Just make it your priority to not be the guy that gets robbed in the sketchy part of town. So for all you guys that are heading out to work right now, stay safe, be good, do well, let's go make some money.